And good morning. It's your favorite and friendly neighborhood Tironan. And let's see what we got here. Where's everybody going? Airbase. I have somebody on my tail. What I have going for me is speed. I'm going to use it. All right. You may have noticed a slight upgrade in firepower, and that is because I now have the 4 M39 20 millimeters. And this is the thing that defines this aircraft. It's not the speed, though the speed helps. It does help. What really helps define this is the firepower. Now it has 420s, and everybody, in the first question, so everybody's got 420s. These aren't the standard American 420s. This carries the M39, which is one hell of an aircraft by gun by anybody's standard. And the next question you're going to ask is, okay, so, well, because of what it is, what makes the difference is the sheer speed and the ammunition redesign. And this aircraft was designed to do one thing and do it well, which was to give tremendous amounts of firepower with very little notice. And so the M39, it is still manufactured to this day. It's most often used as naval armament, but it is still in the F5 Freedom Fighter. And the reason that it's still being used is the sheer amount of firepower that it represents. And I've mentioned firepower about 14 times. What's the difference? Okay, so use the revolver cannon principle, and what you do is you take about 5 chambers and you put them on an external mounted externally powered, and then you revolve the chambers around the aircraft, around the barrel. It has a single barrel on the design. Now I'm all tore up here, so we're going to go and get healed. So what does that do for you? Well, when you have 5 chambers and a single barrel, it allows you to do to increase your rate of fire by a tremendous amount. Okay, this fellow followed me all the way over, and he's much more turny than I am, and he might be more turny than I am, but he is nowhere near as fast. As Patton said to the fellow that he defeated at General using General Rommel's plan is I read your book. So, you got 1,500 rounds per minute out of the M39. And it wasn't 2,600 feet per second round anymore. You were getting 3,300 feet per second. And for those on the metric system, that is 1,030 meters per second. Okay. And you had 4 of them. Oh, well. And so you have a aircraft with 4 of these spitting out 6,000 rounds a minute. And that makes a little difference as compared to 650s. And you notice how quickly the guns cool down. Now, they heat very quickly, but they also cool down very quickly. Now, this is Pavel, and he wanted to shoot me down and chase me down across the airfield. And this gives you an opportunity to do things that you don't normally get to do with the lower amounts of firepower available. And one of them is pick out your target from a very good long range. Is almost 2,700 feet on this. I guess that's because of the additional velocity. And you get to do something else with the aircraft, which means you can begin to chew them up from a very long distance, keep your guns on them, and kill them very quickly, which kind of leads the question to the, how fast can you kill something when you're moving this quickly? And this, if this aircraft has dropped below 350 miles an hour, I've yet to see it. You don't get to put a lot of time into it. And so the 50s kind of work against the aircraft, right? You're moving very quickly. You're not going to be able to keep it in your sights very long. Okay, so fine. Now I have an aircraft behind me, LA-9, Pavel again. And it's going to turn me right back into him, which is fine. And I got to rebuild some boost. And I'm going to accelerate out of his range again. I'll leave him sucking wind, which I like. Alright, let's move on. Too much heat in this area. We'll leave the area. The ground attack fighters will leave me alone. And we will turn around. Slight bit of difference in the aircraft performance. Now it's also got the airframe. It gives you a little more maneuverability. Don't get me wrong, it's still not going to turn with any single engine fighter that I've seen in this, with the possible exception of I think the TA-152 is not going to turn all that well if it follows the same multi-role line that the Focke-Wulf 190D did, but I don't know. But in general, your role is to take on other high altitude fighters. You now have the speed and you have the gunpowder. You will notice the damage that I've done to targets here, and I want you to make careful note of that. 7211. All right, hit some ground targets. Yeah, wasn't really even trying. Good experience. And hats off to Wingster. He did Wogster. He did a good job. Foma, I think that's a bot, but I wouldn't swear to it. And Zakar. So we did a good job here. I'm going to go ahead and take this back out again. I doubt there's any more upgrades I can really put on this aircraft. Yeah, I can still get the aircraft upgrade. But I thought this was important enough to show you that it's worth doing again. Whole different aircraft with the guns. The first engine upgrade is rather easy to get. I would concentrate on the guns from that point on. And when it comes to guns, you'll see this over and over again in all aircraft designs, was the increased the power and the reach and the rate of fire of the guns. And the reason was you didn't get to have aircraft in front of you for very long at the speeds that they were starting to travel. Now, even at this point, 500 miles an hour is only so-so, right? And I do have my bombs. Yeah, probably get another 6 or 8 miles an hour if I took them off, but it's nice to have the flexibility and the aircraft has the speed to carry it at this point.
Show me what you can do, pilots. Let's roll.
And I'm not at all convinced that we have anything but bots in here, but we'll find out. Now this thing just became something to be dreaded, to something to essentially meet on the hook. Let's kick this up on firing an enemy friendly aircraft. Glad I went to sniper mode. Okay. I will stress again, this thing is happiest at altitude. One of my viewers said with the right guns and set up correctly, this thing is almost OP. And I can see where he gets his comments now. Alright, so we've collected up our base. And I'm just going to follow the rest of the bots. The range on these guns makes a lot of difference. Just like on the Corsairs, the difference becomes that you can play sniper with this. Short cooldown on the 20s is a blessing that I cannot tell you how good it feels. Alright, I don't have to get close to other enemy fighters to kill them. I can sit up at altitude, pick them up at long range. Close within 26, and I forget what the exact number is, but it's just over 26 to 2,700 feet. It sits right between those two. Again, this RB-17 is heading towards me. Use a little boost. Go to sniper mode. There he is. Slow down a little bit here. And he's gone. And I think all the aircraft in the world are fixing to descend upon me. I want a little bit of distance between them and me. Having a hard time picking this guy up. And it's a P-51. Got to pay at least some attention to your guns. If you don't let them cool down, you don't get full fire effect. You just don't have to wait very long. Alright, so he's going to come around and want to get on my tail. I want to get out of here. It's not a good... you see him behind me now, and he's not going to be able to get in front of me. So he'll follow me to the ends of the earth or whatever, and that's fine. If I get to do a head-on pass, so much the better. And we'll just get out of their area. And we'll come on around. KI-94. Very, very dangerous aircraft, both tourney and tremendous amounts of gunpowder. Oh, geez. Finally, a 262 got me. Let's see where we need it at. Alright, we got a JM4 up here at high altitude.
Receiving reports about rapidly deteriorating weather conditions. Support will be unable to reach you. Do you read me? Over.
I got somebody behind me. He's not friendly. Oh, yes. Poisonous blood. My favorite seal clubber.
Our
shouldn't have said that, but I see this guy playing tier 9s and tier 8s, and he doesn't have any control over it, so it wasn't a fair comment. Poisonous Blood, you have my apologies.
They've almost got us.
Alright, so getting back to the aircraft, this is a very competitive aircraft with the gun upgrade. So you're going to want to get your guns and your engine. And everything else can take second place. You can outrun the P-51s. You're not going to outrun the I-250, and you're not going to outrun the 262. But if you can get a 262 in your sights, he's not going to get away from you very quick, and you have long reach on your weapons. You can take him down. And it makes this aircraft a much more competitive with the 4 M39s. Alright, there's heavy fighters, bombers. You've got it over all of them. Ground attack aircraft, 2,000 points, no problem. You can take them out very quickly as well. A lot of things that became tougher aren't nearly as tough when you're spitting out that kind of firepower. Now it's a fun aircraft to fly, where before I found it extremely frustrating because you had to get way too close and you weren't maneuverable enough to keep your guns on them. Well, 26 as opposed to, 1,600, 1,700 feet is quite a different subject. Alright, let's see what we did. Alright, we destroyed twice, killed 8, assisted with 1. So 4.5 per each one of my being destroyed. And we will upgrade the airframe. Alright, the only thing available to me now is, let's take a look at the airspeed. That gives me, well, that's a heck of a difference. As opposed to 503. These are the Teeny Tim rockets, and they were very, very large rockets with a long range to them and an incredible amount of blast. Damage is 4,500 per rocket, and the blast radius is 230 feet, as opposed to your bombs. You get a slight increase here, but the thing is, you don't have to get nearly as close, and you can go on about your business faster. That's going to be a personal choice. Alright, but this is going to be, we'll go ahead and play this one more time and see what the upgrade is. The thing that it tells you maneuverability is +2 with this, but I don't see this changing, so it makes me wonder what the difference is. And I don't see much. Okay. Gun and armament on this, by the way. Let's go ahead and take a look at that. Yeah, 2624 is the exact range of these guns. Okay, so information is 170, and that is times 4. So 480. That's what I make it out to be. Maybe I'm wrong. I am wrong. Let's go pull up the calculator. That's 680. So that puts it up there with most of them, towards the high end. It's not going to beat out the most formidable fighter I have seen in firepower is the Japanese J7W1. But you notice that your damage isn't nearly, the damage is more, and because of these monsters, times 4, and you're looking at 880 damage. But it can't approach you in speed. Now the question I have, let's look at the 262, which is such a terror in this, at least from what I've seen. So he's getting about 800. And the range is right at 2,000. So, and take a final look at the speed. Here's where the difference is. He's getting 571. You throw aircraft polish on top of it, and I can guarantee you anybody worth his salt is going. That's going to be his first mod purchase. Is going to put him in there. That's going to put him over 600 miles an hour. That's why they're so hard to catch. All right, just for the sake of completeness, we're going to run this one more time with the airframe upgrade. And see if we don't do some good with this.
Attention! You are entering the combat zone. Get ready for battle. Good luck.
Now, I didn't put the bombs back on this, so we'll get the speed. And the reason is because we have 262s that are showing up. I don't know if we have one here. I don't see one. Interesting. Okay.
Show me what you can do, pilot. Let's roll.
I'm going to come in here. Speed up a little bit. Turn around. Now again, it's not a turn and burn fighter, so I'm not even going to attempt to turn with them. I'm just going to be as big a nuisance as I can be, do damage where I can, and move on.
Attention all fighters. Enemy bombers detected. Destroy them.
Ubiquitous JM4. Speed on past him here. Again, I'm not trying to dogfight with anything. Don't have not in my best interest. Have no need for it. F2G. I don't think he has good intentions. I think he's going to try to take the base from us. Maybe 265. Well, I'd rather have the airfield and the military base and the command base than the airfield.
Our military base is launching strikes on the enemy. This will make things easier for you.
And I thought that F2G wasn't going to catch up to me, and he did. He's got very long range on those guns of his, and he made them count. Good for him. Take a look at the field. We don't have a base on this. Make a solo run through here.
The enemy has gathered forces to attack the command center. Be cautious.
We'll be moving at very high speed. And we'll just take a dive here. And I think that rocking around that I did was about compressibility.
Hang in there. You'll soon be cut off from support. I say again, support will not be available. The command centers are ours, awaiting help from the front headquarters. That's it. There's no way to break through for you now. You're on your own.
All right, let's see if we can't finish this up. Okay.
Victory is in sight. Keep it up.
Now, I don't need to be in any particular hurry, so I need to keep my guns on them as long as I can. Notice how quickly those guns cool back down.
We have complete control of the skies. Way to go.
Okay, I'm not going to be as slow as this aircraft is. Use a little boost, come on around.
Victory is ours. We're waiting for your
I do think we made a difference here, gentlemen. Want to get at least one victory out of it, and by God we did. But you'll notice that even on the matches that I lost, we still did a lot of damage. Alright, we killed 10 aircraft, assisted with 4, and captured 1 sector. Good money, good experience, and a lot of free experience. Come back over here to personal score, and we did fine there. Let's go to team score, and we did pretty well. Well, BR 549 box did pretty darn well, and so did Blitz. And I think, well, there's one fellow. But both of you and players on the other side did very well. And Max T turned in 4,500. Probably should have been a little higher on the scoreboard there. Did pretty well. All right, there is the definitive, fully upgraded. In fact, the only thing I could get on this, I think, is this. And something I may consider is getting the improved flaps as the final. For that, either that or the reinforced airframe. Because the aircraft has a lot of survival points on it. 650, you throw Reinforced airframe on there gives you another 15%. That's not chicken feed. Pretty darn good plane. And has impressed me, but I will state this is what you want to get. Okay, this is nice, don't get me wrong, nor does it cost all that much, so you may want to get that and then go straight down the chain. I wouldn't purchase anything else until I got this. Okay, totally different aircraft. You can get your sights on them, you'll kill it quick. Yeah, so, and the guns are mounted either side of the fuselage, right here and here. I'll probably get a better look at them, which is kind of interesting because it hides the muzzle flash from the pilot, which may have meant they intended to use it as a night fighter eventually. And I noticed that looks like they have a radar dish in front. Depends on how thoroughly they did their research, I guess. But that would be the questions I would have. I would might go with that. Very, very, very fun aircraft when fully upgraded. Well worth the time, well worth the experience. It is aggravating until you get rid of the 50s. And then it gets to be a lot of fun. So bear with it. You've got the Banshee to look forward to. And it's got the Mark 12s, unfortunately. They're not as good. Yeah, and damage per second is going to be in the same class, but still, you get 2630. So the range is good. But the nice thing about it is you should have some pretty good airspeed on it. And you do. And then when you start looking at that, should be some fun. Average turn time is going to be 14 seconds. It's just going to be something you have to live with. It's going to be another boom zoom. All right, folks, that's going to wrap this up. I know it was a long video. I hope you enjoyed it. Certainly had some good fights in there. And we will see you tomorrow.